Hey everyone, welcome to Whispers of Turkish Stars. Settle in, because what we're about to share has the entire entertainment world holding its breath. Before we begin, remember to subscribe and share so you don't miss any of our updates. Now, let's get into it. A heart-stopping moment unfolded this week when Demet Özdemir, after a sudden health scare, found herself in a hospital bed facing an operation she hadn't planned for. The whispers began with a single phone call. One that turned an ordinary hospital evening into a story fans will replay in their minds for a long time. The call was to Kenyaman, and it came from Demet at the most fragile moment before she was due to be taken into surgery. Those close to the situation say Demet had been pushing herself relentlessly, bouncing from set to set, barely sleeping between long shooting days. She went in for routine tests after feeling unwell, and doctors recommended a procedure to take care of what they described as a manageable issue. The medical team reassured everyone it was standard, safe, nothing to fear. But fear doesn't always listen to reason. They say she felt stretched thin, emotionally and physically. And in that raw state, she reached for the one voice that could steady her. Just minutes before they were supposed to wheel her into the operating room, Demet reportedly asked for her phone. The room went quiet. Nurses exchanged looks. Her friends froze. When Ken picked up, sources say her voice wavered, and she whispered a truth she couldn't dress up. She didn't feel brave enough to go in unless he came. Not in those exact words, but close enough to leave no doubt. It was the kind of plea that silences a corridor. What happened next has already slipped into gossip lore. Ken cleared his schedule without a second thought. People in his circle say he made a few quick calls, canceled everything, and headed for the hospital like there was nothing else on earth that mattered. The moment he arrived, he spoke quietly with Demet's family and close friends, then walked into her room. Those who witnessed that first look between them insist Demet's eyes filled as soon as she saw him, and that she grabbed his hand as if letting go would bring the whole world crashing down. She calmed only after a few deep breaths, staring at him with the kind of relief you can't fake. After their private exchange, Demet agreed to proceed with the operation. It didn't take long. Doctors did their job with the confidence of people who've done it 1,000 times. Outside, Ken waited. He stayed in the hallway, asking careful questions of the staff, keeping his distance while insisting on updates. He didn't leave, not for a coffee, not for fresh air. Hospital insiders say they rarely see that kind of unwavering presence from anyone but immediate family. When the surgery ended and Demet woke up, the first thing out of her mouth wasn't about pain or medicine, it was about whether Ken was still there. She wanted to see him. She needed to see him. And he was right outside her door, waiting for the go-ahead. Naturally, the speculation machine went into overdrive. Fans have always had strong opinions about whatever exists between Demet and Ken, sometimes calling it friendship, sometimes something more. They'd been linked before, tied together by on-screen chemistry that never quite loosened its grip off-screen. But this? This felt different. This felt like a line had been crossed from polite distance into something unmistakably intimate. Some people call it old loyalties that never faded, others say it's a brand new page. Either way, it doesn't feel casual anymore. And the plot only thickened after Demet left the recovery room. Observers claim Ken was among the first to step in after the doctors allowed visitors, and, just as quickly, among the first to step back out until Demet asked everyone else to give them a moment. The door closed. What unfolded next, nobody can confirm in full, but there are whispers. Voices rising and then softening, stops and starts, a flood of emotion, and finally, long stretches of quiet that say just as much as words. Those close to Demet say she let herself be honest in a way she hasn't been in a long time, speaking about the pressure of her workload, the emotional wear and tear, the unresolved worries that had been piling up in the shadows. She wasn't just afraid of the surgery, she was afraid of everything breaking at once. As the story goes, Ken kept his cool. He listened more than he spoke, stepped in only to steady her, to say things like, "I'm here. We'll get through it." Not dramatic promises, just the firm, practical reassurance of someone who intends to stick around. Even outside the room, people noticed the way he managed the small things, checking on her family, figuring out her med schedule, asking nurses what was needed, making sure nobody sat there with an empty stomach or a full worry. One member of the hospital staff supposedly told a colleague, with a knowing smile, that this level of care isn't something you see every day. Then came the question of how to leave without turning the hospital exit into a headline frenzy. They planned it like a carefully choreographed scene. From what we've heard, Ken mapped it out himself: a quiet discharge, discreet timing, a car waiting where the photographers wouldn't expect it. He stayed by Demet's side, shielding her from the chaos of flashing lenses, moving her from corridor to elevator to car like he'd studied the building's blueprint. By the time anyone realized, they were already gone. Is it any wonder the rumor mill can't keep up? People are asking the same questions everywhere you turn. Was Demet's late-night confession nothing more than fear talking? Or did it open a door she'd kept shut for too long? And what about Can? Was his sprint to the hospital just a humane response, or did it reveal a loyalty that never really left, no matter how far life pulled them apart? There's more. After she stabilized, Demet reportedly had a quiet conversation with a handful of close friends. She didn't spell everything out, didn't name names, but she said something that turned heads: you learn who's real when life gets hard. Those present say her eyes shone with tears, and then she changed the subject, determined not to be drawn into explanations she wasn't ready to give. Meanwhile, something shifted around Ken too. He's famous for keeping his private life sealed, but insiders claim he stopped answering most calls and messages in the days that followed, speaking only to a small circle and telling colleagues he needed space. It wasn't drama. It felt deliberate, like a man taking time to feel the weight of a moment instead of running from it. And then, of course, came the posts. Demet shared a simple note after her operation, nothing flashy, just a gentle acknowledgement of the people who stood by her. Grateful for those who kept me strong, she wrote, short and sincere, without naming anyone. That same day, Ken posted a photo of a horizon drenched in late light. The caption read something like, "Some truths don't need words." Fans immediately started connecting the dots. Coincidence? Maybe. But the timing was impossible to ignore, and the internet doesn't let these things pass without a theory. Since then, word is they've been talking often: late calls, check-ins, small laughs cutting through big feelings. They don't have a project together at the moment, no joint shoots, nothing that would require constant contact. And yet the communication hasn't faded. People close to both of them say it's no longer just about a difficult night in a hospital, it's about everything that night brought to the surface. Neither Demet nor Ken has stepped forward with a neat explanation. No official statements, no sit-down interviews, no carefully crafted captions to label what they're feeling. And maybe that's the point. Maybe they're not ready to name it. For now, the only facts are the ones anyone can see. A call that mattered, a presence that didn't waver, a plan carried out with care, and a bond that appears to have tightened when life forced them to be honest. Demet's fans, above all, are focused on her well-being. Every message, every comment, every trending thread keeps circling back to the same wish: that she recovers fully and finds peace in her pace again. She's been a force for years, dancing between roles and responsibilities, but even powerhouses need to breathe. This scare reminded everyone, maybe even her, that resilience isn't the same as never slowing down. As for Can, that stoic exterior he often carries looked softer in those white corridors. People we spoke to described him as steady, present, protective without being possessive, drawing a boundary around Demet that kept trouble out and comfort in. He didn't grandstand. He didn't pose. He simply stayed. And in a world where staying can be the hardest thing, that meant everything. If you're looking for definitive answers, we don't have them yet. What we do have are moments, some whispered, some witnessed, that form a picture more powerful than declarations. Demet reaching for her phone when the fear got loud. Ken arriving like a quiet storm. Their hands locked for a long stretch of time that no one disturbed. The way she finally agreed to close her eyes and trust the doctors after seeing him there. The question she asked when she woke: is he still here? The answer: yes. We also know this: the story isn't over. Whether it becomes a chapter they keep to themselves or a public tale they eventually choose to share, something shifted in those hours between admission and discharge. It's showing up in their timing, their silence, their care with each other's names. It's showing up in the restraint they're practicing by not turning a deeply private night into a spectacle. It's showing up in the attention they give to small gestures that feel enormous when the world is watching. For now, the tabloids will spin and fans will interpret, and life will nudge them both back onto their paths. But paths have a way of crossing again when they're supposed to. Maybe that's what we're seeing. Maybe what happened in that hospital didn't just fix a medical concern, maybe it fixed a distance that neither of them wanted to admit had grown too wide. We'll keep following the story with care and respect. And if there's one thing this week has made clear, it's that real moments don't need big announcements to be felt. They just need two people willing to show up when it counts. You've been watching Whispers of Turkish Stars. If this story moved you, subscribe and share so more people can join the conversation. We'll be here, keeping the whispers gentle and the truths intact.